So the lighting is just going to be off a little bit, but I want to take you guys along as I make some sourdough rye bread. It's not going to be a complete rye bread because something I learned is that rye isn't high in gluten, which if you were to make a bread with all rye, just all rye bread, I think it'll be harder to form. At least that's what I've um was told, but or read. But I'm gonna make some sourdough rye bread with this dark rye flour from Bob's Red Mill. It's organic. And then I've been loving this flour. It's from Italy. It says it's a product of Italy. So I've been using this flour. This is a great alternative, especially if you've been looking. But I don't know if they make like bigger bags of flour. I want to see if they do at the grocery store where I get it from. This is the only size that they have, and I think this is about like $5.30 or something like that. Um, but this is a great alternative, especially looking for a flour that isn't genetically modified or has glyphosate in it. So this is a flour I am using today, and I want to get better. One of my goals is to get better at just finding more just products that are not filled with so much chemicals. Um, and I feel like it's becoming more harder to do so because of just like the reality of how like food is produced here in America and just how big pharma and big companies just are more interested in making a profit than they are in actually making stuff that is actually gonna help us. And I don't think um I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, so that's just what I'm gonna leave that for right now. Maybe I'll make a podcast episode about that. Just things I've been learning, my thoughts. But I'm gonna try working with these camera angles. I am still learning, and forgive me for the camera angles, but and the lighting, I'm still trying to figure that out. And as you can see, I'm tall. I'm like 5'8", so it's like really hard to kind of like bend down in the camera. And then we'll figure out the lighting. It's just gonna be what it is gonna be for now. But I just wanted to take you along with me on this. And you're gonna see as well in the video. I also showed you like my fermented cabbage that I made, and that one is not gonna be me actually. It's gonna be more voiceover. I'm actually not gonna be actually talking in that video. I'm gonna be doing a voiceover on that video on those clips. So if you're wanting the change in that, that's because I was like um my sister is here and I didn't want to like I don't know. So I was just like I'm just gonna do a voiceover for that one, and then for these she's not here. She's um I want to do something, so I can record. So that's a blessing. Yeah. So I'm gonna get started on that, and something I want to get better at. I'm gonna show you guys. This is like where I keep all my recipes, and I need to find a better organizational system for recipes. I've seen people write their recipes on index cards and do that. I think I may just have to find a day and just sit down and go through the recipes and write them on index cards because I think it'd be a cool way to just organize them. But it's just messy right now and it's taking up a lot of space and it's not very organized and isn't very accessible. I mean, I can like look through it, but it's just like takes longer. So I think I'm gonna find a system. If you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments below. But this is my recipe book for now. But I just printed the recipe for, and I'm wasting paper too. I just realized that. So I think it's just better if I do the index paper. But I just printed this paper out for now so I can film the video and follow the recipe. I could use my computer, but we're using what we have. So I'm using this iPhone that I have, my iPhone to film. This is kind of the phone I use to like film and record podcast episodes and stuff. But excuse me, I have my sourdough starter here. This sourdough starter I actually fed last night, and it's like I know like there's different. I mean, I'm still learning about sourdough. I don't know everything about sourdough, but I know some people like say like use it as soon as like a couple hours after you feed it, but I'm using this a whole couple hours, a bunch of time later, and I think it'll work fine. I've done this before, and it works fine. So, um, yeah, and then we have the honey, and then I need to get the salt. Um, and then this is the salt I will be using. This is the salt I'll be using. So we have some green onions growing. My mom brought green onions from the store, and I had it in water before, but now I put it in soil. Actually, I think there's a clip I have of just like I'm getting started on some. I want to do like an indoor herb garden, so I am getting started on some seeds right now. Um, they're germinating, and I think I do have a clip of just what that looks like. And this is my first time. Like I want to get into gardening, and I have no gardening background or anything, but I'm excited to learn, and I'm just going for it. Um, but these are the green onions. It is a bit crowded, but it's okay. Um, right now I have it in this container because it's just what we had, and I'm just gonna use what we have. So this is the green onions, and I have it in the soil right here, and I just have it on a plate. And then what's later? We have another one right here. Right here. But I just kind of pulled it over here so I can get some sun. I will make my way across. Um, I'll kind of let that run a bit, and then I'm gonna get the scale from over here. My handy dandy scale, and then I'll kind of use this to kind of measure out the water. Oh wait, but then it's gonna give me the weight of the cup with the water. I don't want that. You just want the weight of water. We just need 280 grams of water. That's 283. It doesn't need to be perfect. So we're gonna stop right there and then take this. So, in these next clips, I don't know if you're going to see me well, but I want to be more focused on you being able to kind of see um, what I'm doing rather than, I guess, you being able to see me of the starter. Oh, we got 66 grams. Do I take some out? Do I just go with the flow? We'll leave it. I won't take anything out. I'll just keep that in mind when I'm adding other stuff in to just add a bit more. So we have that flour starter, water, water. I'm gonna tear the scale, add some water. It actually works perfectly because I'm just going to take this water right here and just add a bit more water. I feel like I don't get very specific. I just kind of find a recipe and hit a ballpark around that sometimes. And sometimes I follow exactly. Sometimes I'm just like, well, we'll just keep going. I'm going to add some honey. See, that was supposed to be 15 grams of honey and I added 26. So Yeah. Good, honey. I mean, if it the goal is just for it to turn out good. Using Swiss. Right here. A bit of see what I'm doing. Nice and bubbly, 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 bubbly. Okay. Now we're gonna do the flour. I thought it wasn't recording for a second. I'm like, wait, no. Okay. Gonna start with the rye flour. Oh, make sure you don't do it. Make sure you don't open it near your face. You don't want any flour getting in your eyeballs. Okay. I guess this is okay. 100 grams of rye flour. Oh, see? This calls for 260 grams of bread flour, but I don't have bread flour. I just have this flour, so that's what I'm gonna use. And I think I used this last time I made this rye bread, and it came out pretty good. I mean, it came out good, not pretty good. It came out really good. So kind of go over a little bit, just compensating for the added sourdough starter, and then we whisk this together. Oh, so it's this recipe also calls for whole wheat flour, but I don't have whole wheat flour, so I'm just gonna add more of the rye flour. Okay. And we'll just stir this. What are you doing? Bambi's my cat. Now I'm just kind of mixing a bit. It says it's gonna be more of a shaggy dough. Oh, some bits of it flying. I know some people do not like touching the dough because their hands get this way. I mean, I do get like that sometimes, but I'm like, I just like no, like I just like I don't know. I like getting like just working with my hands and I don't know. I'm kind of just get over it. And I would just go wash my hands, but I'm just gonna like flip the top on this and just add the salt. It says don't just let it sit on top. This is about like 7 grams of salt. So I'm just gonna say like that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then Let this baby sit for an hour. So I know with sourdough. Hold on, I'm gonna wash my hands so we can talk more. So I know with sourdough, some people are more fussy with it, and others are just more chill with it. I am the more chill person when it comes to sourdough. In the beginning, when I first was learning sourdough, I think this was about a year or two ago. I was like all like fussy with it and just I has to be this and that and this. And I think the more I just like started making it and I got back to making it, I just was I it depends. If I have the time, then I'll put the time in. If I don't, I just kind of just let it do its thing. Because I know some people like 1 hour, let it sit. Okay, go back, fluff it up, not fluff it up, but like knead it or like fold it and you let it sit and do that again and again. And I know like the oven spring and stuff like that, but it's like when I'm just making it for like family or myself, like I want a good oven spring, but I don't know. For me, I just you can kind of decide on your own, and whatever you do is fine. But that's just what I do. I'm just more chill with it. But I think for today, I may just do a couple folds, stretches, and that's what's called stretches and folds. That's to fluff it up, stretches and fold, and do that. So I think that's what I do. Yeah, I'm just like reading this page and I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. So you can do whatever you want. I kind of like to do the more lazy way. I kind of just, it's one stretch and fold, or I think last time I didn't do a stretch and fold until like I was about to put it in the oven or something like that. And it came out fine. Like it came out really good. So you do what you want to do. So that is kind of my little spiel on my thoughts about sourdough and little stretchies and foldies of the dough. But I'm gonna get clean up this, and let that sit for an hour and take a chill. So I see you back when I do some stretch and folds. So before we get to the clip of me doing the stretch and folds for the sourdough, I just wanted to cut to me showing you the clips of me fermenting the cabbage. So here I am cutting the cabbage. So usually for this recipe, there's two different ways that you can ferment the cabbage or do fermented things or items. So when I first started doing fermentation or fermenting vegetables, I did I cut the whatever I was using vegetable for in this instance I cut the cabbage up, and then I would weigh out the cabbage plus I would add water, and then I would use the weight of the water and the cabbage and then multiply the total of that weight by 0.025, or yeah, 0.025. Yes. So that is just like the number I used. I was watching a video that talked about fermentation. I can link that video below. I think it's by Life with Mike. He talks about like fermentation, and he gave a range of percentages that you can use, and that's just kind of the one I used. Um, so I use 0.025. So that is when I'm doing a water weight, adding water to the fermentation. But as you can see here, in the following clips, and I showed you some of the parts. So first, I'm gonna cut. Before I go to that, I'm showing you like some of the cabbage pieces. So with fermentation, you want to make sure that you're using um, like a more fresher vegetable. You don't want to wait a couple days because it can get wilted. And then and fermented foods do better with more fresh vegetables. So you don't want to use like a soggy piece of cabbage or a cabbage that is like has some like not good spots on it. So I was showing you that. So back to what I was saying. So with the cabbage in these clips, you'll see me that I didn't actually add any water to the fermentation process of this cabbage. I used the own cabbage juices to make the fermentation liquid, for lack of better words. So what I did, as you'll see in the next couple of clips, I took the cabbage and added some salt So I took the weight of the cabbage, weighed the weight of the cabbage with cabbage alone, and so I took that and multiplied it by 0.025, and then I use the amount that was given, and I use that for the amount of salt that was going to be used in the cabbage. I would also like to mention something that I do when I am doing this is make sure I use as much of the cabbage as possible. I know that with sometimes when we are cutting vegetables, we cut off the end pieces and like throw them away. But something that I want to encourage you to do instead of throwing those pieces away, I know with cabbage maybe like with a cabbage, I use all of it, like mostly all of it. I probably cut off like the very end, then I throw that away. But if you don't want to throw it away, or another way you can use it is to make vegetable stock or broth out of it. So what I do is I cut off the end pieces. If I'm doing an onion or something like that, just cutting off the end pieces and just saving those end pieces for a broth or a vegetable stock. Or like I do a mix like with bone broth and like those pieces as well too. I just want to encourage you in that. But to clarify, if there's like a really bad piece, I will just throw it away. Or like if you have a compost, you can put it in there. But I live in an apartment, and I do have one a compost that like a bin that I have in a neighbor's yard that they let me put it in. But that one is like very a smaller compost bin. So just want to give you some of those ideas. Now in these clips, you see me weighing out the cabbage and adding the salt to that, and you don't have to do 0.025. Some people just wing it. And I think it just depends on the salt, like how much, like how salty you want the sauerkraut. Okay, this is sauerkraut. I usually don't call it sauerkraut, but like I'm making sauerkraut basically. Um, yeah, so I think this was about 33 grams of salt, and now what you see me doing is massaging the salt into the cabbage to make sure that it covers the surface of the cabbage, and so that it can pull the water from the cabbage. So the salt is what is so the salt mixed with the cabbage is what is giving us our liquid for the cabbage. And this is just another clip of me just massaging the cabbage. It was actually pretty hard to record and massage at the same time, so you kind of see the camera shaking a little bit. But in this clip, I am just like I just set the phone down so that you can kind of see me a bit like massage the cabbage, and just breaking up some bigger pieces so that they can also be part of the whole mixture, and so the salt can better work with the bigger, smaller pieces rather than the bigger pieces. When it comes to choosing the salt that you're going to use for your fermentation, I would recommend using a more natural salt. Um, for added minerals and yeah, but I wonder if you can use iodine salt. I'm not too sure. I don't know if like I don't know what the perspectives are on that. I've just heard people say just use more of a natural salt. I don't know if you use iodine salt. I don't know if you want to use that salt. I don't know. There's different perspectives and opinions on that. So use the salt that you have. Just me being a bit silly in this clip. Yeah. So in this clip, I am trying to show you my herb garden that I'm trying to start. I'm learning along the way. I ordered some seeds from Survivor Garden. I can link that down below too. So I have lemon balm, calendula, comfrey, and spearmint. So I'm starting with that and seeing how that goes. And there's my sourdough starter peeking in. Say hello as well too. But yeah, I'll keep you updated on that. So I thought about just keeping this whole clip like silent, but I was like, no, I wouldn't. It's okay. But my sister is singing in the background in this clip. But this is actually one of my favorite my favorite part of the process of fermenting is putting like in a jar and kind of just like mushing it down. But it was a bit of a workout. You probably can see me later on as you'll see I was struggling a little bit and this paper towel was in the way, so I was trying to move it out the way. Um, but yeah, so what I'm doing now, if you can, so I have like a pretty big size cabbage. I feel like cabbages usually run in big sizes. So you want a pretty big jar to be able to fill um, with the cabbage. And also, yeah, it's good to get like a decent sized jar. You don't want too big because you don't want too much air in the jar and not enough like cabbage in it. You want just enough space where the cabbage fills the jar and where there's like a bit of space at the top. Um, yeah. So I am slowly filling the jar with cabbage, and along the way, I'm just pressing down the cabbage as well too, so that it can hold more cabbage. Because at first you may think, oh, like is it going to fill the jar? And what you do, you want to push it down so that it can fill the jar, but also that you want the cabbage to be submerged in the liquid. You don't want like barely any cabbage to be showing because that can create mold if it's exposed to the air. You want everything to be submerged under the water, the salty solution, because the salt kills off the bacteria. So any bacteria that can grow won't grow if the cabbage is submerged under the solution. But if it's exposed to the air, it can become moldy, and we don't want any moldy cabbage here. So let's not do that. Um, I went back to the cabinet to see if I can get a better size, like jar to help me push down the cabbage. So I know there's like a special tool that people use, like to push down the cabbage, I think, but I don't have that special tool, so I just use what I have. So I'm using a jar that's filled with herbs to push it down, and it's a perfect size jar to fit in this big size jar to help me push down the cabbage. And this is, as you can see, I was struggling a bit to try to get the cabbage to push down. Every time I do this, I always have a bit of doubt. I'm like, is the solution, like the salt solution, actually going to cover all the cabbage? Like when I first did it, I was like, there's no way this is going to cover it, and it does. You just got to make sure that the cabbage is compressed and that it's all like compressed, and then it ends up working in the end. But there was this one time where I had a cabbage I let sit too long, and then not a lot of water came out of it. So I think, yeah, I think that's why also, maybe that's why also you want a more fresher cabbage because more water comes out of it. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know. This is just me guessing, but I did try that one time, and the cabbage, like the fermented cabbage of the sauerkraut, did not come out too good. So I know not many people like cabbage. I actually enjoy cabbage. Actually, when I was younger, I did not like cabbage. When I got older, I started to like cabbage. I think the the deal with me, it was, I think sometimes people overcook their vegetables, and when they do that, it gets very soggy. And I think that's why I didn't like cabbage. But I still like that crunch to my cabbage. I like that crunch to my cabbage, and I think as I got older, I'm like, oh, really like this. So I like to make my vegetables still have that little crunch to it. I don't like when they're so overcooked. I just not a big fan of that. But if you don't like cabbage, I don't know if you'll like the fermented cabbage or sauerkraut, but maybe you will. You should give it a try. And I'm sure there's other ways that people do this. This is just the way that I learned how to do this. I forgot what video I first watched. I know I mentioned a Life with Mike video, but I don't think that's the first video I watched. I think I found the recipe online. But and this is the clip of me doing the stretch and folds. And I also was struggling a bit to do the stretch and folds with one hand and trying to record as well too. But as you can see, there's still the salt was still at the top of the sourdough. So when it went to do its first, like I let it set for an hour, the salt sat on top of it. I'm not too sure. Like I probably should like know why and learn why like that is done. I just do it because the recipe called me to do it, but I should probably know why I'm doing it just for future reference. But now I'm just kind of mixing the salt into the dough. In this clip, I just show you kind of just what it looks like when I was finished. Okay, I haven't been the best at recording this whole process because because I started more later in the day. But here's the bread after it was covered with that, and now I'm just gonna go back in and have a pot in there, my cast iron pot in there filled with water to help with steam. And now this is gonna go back in, and it's gonna look so beautiful when it's done. So I see you later. This looks so good. As you can see, the water is going. But that is a work of art. That is beautiful. This is the final product of the bread. I feel like I'm like holding it like it's like a bag or like something like face cream or something. I don't know, but it is more valuable. Look at this. Just look at this side profile. I mean, she's a little burnt on the sides, but she looked good. But as you can see, it's a little like she struggling a little bit on this end. But it looks so nice. I think it would have been better if I didn't put it in um, the tin, but it's what I have, and we didn't have any parchment paper, so I had to work with what I had. But she looked cute. I tried like it's called the 7-minute score, and I did that, and it's like the perfect like she just opened so beautifully, and then yeah, just look at that. Come on, look at that. So amazing, so beautiful. And this is the final product. And now we're gonna enjoy some bread. Gotta cut a piece. She's like so pretty. I don't even want to cut her, but I have to. Like I have to cut her so I can eat her. So we're gonna. I don't know if you hear. I highly doubt you can hear me because sometimes it's not audio works when it wants to. So maybe another voiceover over it. We'll see. Hopefully you can hear something. But this part is lower than this part, so they need to cut this side. So we're gonna hear that. Yeah. So good. Look at that. You hear that? You know you do with this? You take this and then eat it. No, we like them big pieces. No small pieces of butter here. We like them big pieces of butter. And then do some elbow grease. See, I like to bite in my butter. I don't want no just thin layer of butter. I want butter. You do that. You take these, and then you see the more responsible way to do this is just to get a fork, but you see that? That is what we want. And then